Okay, let's just jump right into this. We're often told that when an established company gets into crypto, it's a safe bet, right? But what if that legitimacy is actually just a very clever disguise? Today, we're going to explore a really important paradox: how the most reassuring crypto projects can actually be the most dangerous traps for your money.
You've seen this a million times. A company you know, maybe one you even use every day, suddenly announces they're pivoting to Web3. I mean, they've got a LinkedIn page, a real headquarters you can find on Google Maps, they've got a history. Your brain just naturally thinks, okay, this is legit. They have a reputation to protect. They can't just rug me. And that exact thought, that's the first step into the trap.
And then, bam, the floor completely drops out. Even with all those signs of legitimacy, the token price just nosedives. The project grinds to a halt, and you're stuck holding a digital token that costs you more in gas fees to sell than it's even worth. It's a brutal, and sadly, an all too common story. But it doesn't happen by accident. It happens for very specific and predictable reasons.
So what is going on here? Why is it that a company with a corporate facade can sometimes hide way more risk than a project run by a bunch of anons? Well, that is the big question we're going to answer in this explainer. We're going to peel back the layers and show you the hidden dangers that are hiding right behind that polished professional brand.
To really understand the risk, you first have to understand the real motivation. And spoiler alert, it is rarely as simple as their marketing brochure makes it sound. So let's look at the story they tell you versus what might really be happening behind the scenes.
And this contrast, it's everything. On one side, you've got this beautiful, inspiring story. We're talking decentralization, user ownership, building the future. But on the other side, the potential reality is often a struggling business that can't get money from professional investors anymore, or insiders who are just looking for a quick and easy payday. The token becomes a lifeboat, not a spaceship.
This brings us to one of the biggest, brightest red flags out there: the token allocation. You have to pay close attention to who gets what. When you see a massive slice of the pie, I'm talking over 30%, going to the team and advisors, that's a huge tell. It often signals that the real goal isn't building a community, it's engineering a massive, quick cash out for insiders funded by you.
So how do you protect yourself from this? Well, you need a completely different set of tools for these kinds of projects. You need a due diligence framework that's less about auditing smart contracts and more about being a financial detective. We're going to give you that framework so you can look right behind the corporate curtain.
Here are the 4 critical steps. We'll start with the legal games they play. Then, we'll check the financial pulse of the parent company. After that, we'll follow the money to see where it really ends up. And finally, we'll map out exactly how and when the insiders are planning to sell their tokens.
Okay, first up, the corporate structure. The token is almost never issued by the main company you recognize. It's almost always issued by a subsidiary, often in some other country. And this is totally intentional. It's a legal shield. And here's the crucial point. If that crypto project goes to zero, you have absolutely no claim on the parent company's valuable assets. You basically invested in an isolated, expendable entity.
Next, you have to investigate the parent company's health. Is this business actually thriving, or is it on life support? If it's been a really long time since their last funding round, that is a huge warning sign. You can also look for other clues. Is their website traffic dropping? Are their App Store reviews getting worse and worse? Is their headcount on LinkedIn shrinking? A dying parent company sees a token launch not as innovation, but as a last-ditch effort to get cash.
All right, now that we've got the tools, let's look at how these red flags combine into real-world patterns. These are the 4 most common traps we see companies setting for investors, often using their well-known brand name as the bait.
Okay, let's break these down real quick. The distressed parent, that's a classic desperation play. The subsidiary shield is that legal trick we just talked about. The brand license is when a company isn't even building anything. They're just renting out their logo for a fee. And the most dangerous of all, the stealth bailout. This is when you think you're funding the future, but you're actually just paying off the company's old debts to its early venture capital backers.
This timeline shows you exactly how a stealth bailout works. A few years ago, the company raises a ton of money from VCs at a huge valuation, but then the business stalls out. They can't get any more money from those smart investors, so they turn to you, the public. They launch a token, use your money to pay off their debts, and then, what do you know? Development mysteriously slows down as the price collapses. You didn't just invest, you bailed them out.
So, how do you avoid falling into these traps? Well, it all comes down to asking the right questions before you put a single dollar in. Let's put everything we've talked about into one final powerful checklist. Think of this as your last line of defense. You absolutely must have clear answers to these 7 questions. Is the main business healthy? What is the actual legal setup? Are there best people even working on this thing? Where does the money go? Who gets tokens and when can they sell? Who controls the bank? And are they in any kind of legal trouble? If you can't find clear, convincing answers to these, that is your signal. It is the only signal you need to walk away.
So the next time you see a big, established company launching a token, I want you to ask yourself this one final question. Look past the slick marketing, look past the familiar logo. Are you truly looking at the next wave of innovation? Or are you just looking at a beautifully designed lifeboat for a sinking ship? The difference is everything.